Alright, so this was the new album from Robert DeLong. This is coming off his Long Way Down EP. And that EP had come out like late last year. And I was mainly, when I heard that he was going to release like a full-length album for this year, I usually go through and like make my list and, you know, find out what albums are going to come out and, you know, what to expect for the year. And I had him as my #1 anticipated album to come out this year. Made a bold prediction that his album was going to be my top favorite to come out this year. And I will say that after listening to this album, it is, right now I still haven't made a decision on what's my favorite album of this year, but it's definitely in the running, and it's definitely top 5 so far. I wanted to wait to actually review this album and save it for like one of the last albums that I did. It came out in like September though, mid-September, where the album had come out. But I'm just going to go through the tracks and kind of run through. There were 11 tracks on this album. There were supposed to be 3 additional bonus tracks, but for some reason it wasn't on my CD. I don't know what happened to those 3 additional bonus tracks. I did go online just to kind of check to see if there were 3 additional tracks, and apparently there were, but I don't know if it was just supposed to be a part of the digital only or what, but it got advertised on my CD that there were 3 additional, but there were not 3 additional tracks. Hopefully I can go back and listen to those at a later time and hopefully listen to them online or something. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the tracks and just share my thoughts. So with the first track, it was entitled In the Cards. This was the 3rd track that I heard from this album. And as soon as I heard the track, I just kept thinking, you know, this is the single. Has to be the single. And it was the title track on this album as well. Track number 2 was entitled Long Way Down. This was a track that appeared on his EP. It was also a single. He shot a video for it as well, which I thought was a great video. And this was one of the tracks that I played over and over on the EP. Track number 3 is entitled Jealousy. This was another track I love from this album. I like the way the vocals were done in this track and kind of how he did like the manipulation for the vocals as well. But this was more of an upbeat, more of a sing-along type of song with great lyrics.
In the corner, I saw you with that faithful face. Heard you preaching the gospel that you helped to share.
Track number 4 was entitled Don't Wait Up. This was a great single. This was the 4th track that I heard from this album. There's also an official video for it. And I think it was like before he released this album, he had did a live performance on Jimmy Kimmel, and that performance got me hyped up for the album. But it just kind of sold me. I like the chorus of it. I like his energy that he has in his live performance of this track. Track number 5 is entitled Possessed. For me, it's tradition to kind of choose like a favorite track when I listen to an album, and always, you know, try to number like my tracks of what I like from best to worst, or from best to least favorite. But, you know, it was hard for me to choose a favorite with so many great tracks on this album, seeing as I liked it from start to finish. But Possess, when I first listened to it, you know, I like what he did with it. I liked his vocals, and I liked the way he kind of put a twist on it. And it kind of lived up to the title as well, as he was kind of doing his vocals like he was possessed.
Set me free, make me stay, let me leave, always something up your sleeve.
And I felt like the chorus really stood out to me. It was actually my album highlight. When I first listened to this track, I kind of just took it in, and at a later time I went back to this album and listened to it like a lot more, like a few more times. And the chorus was actually my standout moment from this album. You'll kind of see the lyrics, and he'll say, head or heart, friend or enemy, from the start, you're the end of me. In my mind controlling me, 1,000 volts of your insanity. And just with that, it was just catchy with not even what he's talking about within the lyrics, but just kind of with the way that he structured the lyrics and made it come across, sounded real catchy. But hands down, my favorite track on this album. If you don't listen to any other track on this album, for those of you who are not Robert DeLong fans, I would suggest at least checking out this one track. Track number 6 is entitled Selling You Something. I like the way that he kind of drags out his lyrics during the end of this track, and he's kind of saying the lyrics, if you don't change your mind. And during that part, he's just kind of dragging out the lyrics during that part, and I don't know, for some reason it just stood out to me. Track number 7 was entitled Born to Break. This also had a featured artist on it as well. Thought it was a great collaboration between the two. I thought the lyrics was catchy, and also the vocals as well, and also it had a catchy chorus, and I liked the production that was done on it as well. Acid Rain was another track from the EP. Track number 9 was entitled Future's Right Here. Again, great production by him. I also love the chorus in this, and I just kind of felt like his vocals really stood out. Track number 10 was entitled Pass Out. As far as the production, I kind of felt like it was more like a grime and dubstep type of beat when I listened to this track. And then the last track, track number 11, is entitled That's What We Call Love. This was more slower pace, more melodic. Thought it was a great way for him to end the album, and it was a track that I felt myself going back to over and over and playing on this album. It definitely grew on me from the first time I listened to it. And there's so many different tracks on this album to where you can see yourself getting attached to, and I don't know, I kind of think it depends on how much you listen to him as an artist. I mean, if you're a fan of him, you probably know all the older tracks that were on the EP, so those would be initial favorites. But even with the newer tracks that he's done, I really think that a lot of people like as well. But overall, feel free to share your thoughts on this album and what you thought. Like I said before at the beginning of this, I thought it was one of the best albums to come out this year. Definitely one of the most catchy and unique albums to come out as well. So right now I got it in my top 5 albums of this year. As far as listenability, I haven't really listened to it that much because I didn't want to play it out until after I reviewed it specifically, but I plan on playing this album a lot more, and I've been going back to it a lot recently, but I just really haven't played it as much as I have other albums this year. But share your thoughts, and until next time, this has been Jacob Rob AJ, and I'll see you.
Let me know.